Okay.
It's all yours.
Perfect. Okay, I'm just waiting for a few people to roll in first. Let's see if I'm tagged. Just waiting. Let me see. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, world. Good morning, fam. How you guys doing? I'm just waiting for people to roll in. Hope you had a lovely weekend. Let's see who is. Let me see. Just waiting for. Let me see. Good morning, Waldorf Brown. Good morning. Hi, Terrence. How are you doing? Good morning. Let me see who else is with us. I think. All right. Just check. Hey guys, how you doing? Crypto Azzy in the building. I'm just literally going back and forth between the comments. Yeah, cool. So it has been quite an eventful week. I had a great weekend. How you doing, Aking?
Yo, what's up?
Hey, how you doing? How was your weekend?
Uneventful. I'm pretty boring. I don't do anything. I'm about to hop on the camera a little bit with you right now. So, but you can go ahead, and I know you have a lot of things you want to talk about, a lot of things developing the market. So by the time you're like in full stride, I'll be jumping in with you.
Okay, cool. No worries. So I'm just going to give, let me see, a few more seconds. Cool. Okay, guys. So as King said, it has been an eventful week, and there's quite a lot to cover, but I am going to touch upon stable coins again. We know what happened with Tether, and I'm sure you've heard of HUSD development coming out with HUSD, which is their own medium, their own version of not a stable coin. It's just a platform, a medium that will allow to allow the transfer and the swapping of 4 different stable coins. So this was then announced on Friday. And this is something which would allow, give a lot of investors flexibility, and it will provide more stability to the market. So yeah, it's fiat, it's different types of fiat pegged cryptos. Yeah, Paxos Trust Token, or known as TUSD, Circle's USDC, and Gemini's GUSD. So all of these USDs, get used to them. They're all coming. There'll be more that will be launched as time goes on. So previously, users that, for example, if they deposit Paxos or the Gemini's version, GUSD, they were limited to taking it out in that stable coin or converting it to a non-pegged crypto like Bitcoin or Ethereum. But this time what will happen is using HUSD, HUSD's medium, they can deposit any of the 4 stable coins, and they can withdraw a different stable coin of their choice. So just to clarify, HUSD's version is not a protocol either. It's not stable coin. It facilitates exchange between these different stable coins. So if you think of it as a medium, as a platform, so for example, if you happen to deposit 10 GUSD to the exchange, your account will be credited with that. And let's say you wanted to have 10, let me see, 10 packs. So you'll be credited with 10 HUSD. So you come in with your GUSD, you will get 10 HUSD, which is Huobi's version. And then when withdrawing these assets after trading, you can choose to withdraw in any of the 4 stable coins that are available on Huobi. So that is definitely a good development. It certainly gives you more choice, and it will bring more stability to the market. So users can basically cash out the same stable coin if they want. You could put GUSD and take out GUSD back, or you can select any of the other 3 stable coins. And here's the thing though, whether you can withdraw all your assets in a single stable coin, it really does depend if there's enough supply in the pool. So that's something that they're working on. Their solution right now in the meantime, so that would be buying particular stable coins and putting that into the pool. So they're ready for any situation regarding that. So yeah, here's the thing as well. Huobi won't be listing trading pairs for every stable coin it supports against the major crypto such as Bitcoin and Ethereum. What they're actually going to do is put HUSD, their medium, their version, paired with Bitcoin and Ethereum, and that will be done within the next coming week. So it will be tradable, first of all, with Tether. It is controversial at the moment. With Tether, they're going to put a HUSD with Tether, and in fact that's today. That will be issued today, followed by Bitcoin and Ethereum. So and also they're looking to expand into other stable coins in the future. They do have to meet certain standards, but that right now they're sticking with the 4 they've got. And yeah, they're looking to add more to the HUSD system and to give that utility. And so the only issue is with the 4 that they've chosen. Notably, Tether isn't included in that because of the concerns that they have. They actually stated that Tether doesn't have a reliable and regularly released auditing report to prove its US dollar reserve. And that's been the concern for many investors, for many companies. And with what happened recently in the market, that's something where they feel there are other better options and the market is reacting that way. So here's what I was saying before about stable coins, is that it's so important for them to be verified, have a way to verify and audit the US if they're pegged against US with USD, for example. We need to have proof, verifiable proof that they do have, for each tether they have a USD backed against it. And even with these coins, they have to have something that could be audited and verified. Because eventually the reputation will suffer. Investors need transparency in this space. That's the demand. That's one of the crucial demands in the space. So especially the whole point of a stable coin is to provide stability and to help with the volatility as well. And for arbitrage as well for some people. So it's really important to have these, whatever is pegged against it needs to be verified. So I think it's a good development, and in fact they're following on from they're copying OKX, the second largest crypto exchange by trading volume. So that because they also announced their listing of the same 4 stable coins. So they're keeping up with their competitors. And again, with stable coins, in particular decentralized ones, that's somewhere I feel from what I see, the market eventually will catch up with that demand. Right now, these 4 do look promising so far, but again, I'm away. I explained before how I feel in regards to centralized stable coins, in particular Gemini. I know that a part of that was a mandatory requirement. They even mentioned it in their white paper. In regards to the ability to freeze the coin, to make it non-transferable, to protect assets, to protect investors' funds, and also it's a requirement to comply with the US regulators. So that's something where I feel they shouldn't be involved, and I explained that previously. So this is a good development either way. I mean, anything that brings stability to the market, I think it's good to have these options. And just having Tether, one not anymore, it seems, given by the recent performance of Tether, but to have other stable coins that can have the facility, the ability to verify their holdings is a good thing, in my opinion. So, Aking, what do you think of the whole debate and issue with stablecoins?
I really don't have a opinion, a strong opinion about it, because we spoke about Tether. And you know how I feel about that as far as the speculation that was involved with them. And then the other stable coins that came out, like True USD. What was the other one you mentioned?
Paxos.
Paxos, right. So I understand the utility for them, but I would definitely, just like I said in the last video, I would have my reservations, just because I want to make sure that they are truly backed, that they are truly funded, and that information stays available. So as long as that's the case and continues to be the case, then I get it. But me personally, I'd rather not deal in it. I'd rather deal in like USD. But I understand you don't want to go in and out of fiat. Like, I get that point as well. But if at all possible, if you could stay within cryptocurrency without using a stable coin, that'd be pretty ideal. But I understand the utility. I totally get it. It's just making sure that that security is there. That's my number one concern, really.
Okay. And as you guys know, I have been banging on about decentralized stable coins. For me, it's all about transparency and security as well. And it's so important in this space to have different choices. However, we do need more transparency. So yeah, that's how I feel in regards to stable coins. Now, what was interesting as well, following on from this, is that other companies are coming out with that it's in the pipeline at the moment, but there will be literally hundreds of stable coins coming out in the future. Now it will be a problem of which one to choose. We're probably going to need probably a day to review the best stable coins, the pros and cons, weigh up our options there at some point. So the fact that HUSD would allow users to withdraw stablecoin, one of the stable coins, they think it's the most stable, because they're not perfect at the moment. Some of them are, we do see some of them kind of wavering from their pegged fiat currency value, but I think that will get better over time. And yeah, with exchanges like OKX and HUOB supporting these stable coins, I think it will help the market. In my opinion, the decentralized ones are the way to go, in my opinion. So yeah, it's to literally to help maintain the stability of the market. That's the reason why HUOB launched HUSD. So yeah, that's stable coins for today. And the next development I've noticed as well was on Thursday with the I have something in my eye, by the way. So if you see me doing this, I have something I'm trying to flutter, trying to see if it'll go away on its own. Okay, so the SEC, they did launch something called FinHub division. So the whole point of this is to help and support and collaborate with ICO startups in regards to making sure they're compliant, in terms of having a regulatory framework, and see if there's any whatever issues they're facing, if they can come and find a way to engage them and help them. And so it will basically help ICOs startup their lives to be made a bit more simpler and easier, because goodness knows, negotiating these treacherous waters, especially in the US where ICOs are concerned. The fact that they're launching a new division to make it easier to help them understand the legal implications, and how this will affect their in terms of their viability and stability, whether they'll get approved or not, is things which I feel that they shouldn't really be involved in, so to speak. But I can see how ICOs at the moment, they do have a bad rap, especially the ones that end up being scams, or projects that fail, or have no real world use. Some investors, some vocal investors have mentioned they wanted that space to be regulated. If there's a way they can come in, have the benefits of regulation, the benefits of security, of having extra security, but then have the freedom and the ability to somehow, I don't know how they think they're going to they're gonna have their cake and eat it with this part, and it is going to, I mean, I'm not knocking the sector to engaging with the SEC. I do think it's helpful in some respect, but again, I feel uncomfortable with the idea that the SEC will this may be the first initial step, literally laying the foundation, the part one of putting their tentacles in, and seeing how far, where their reach, where their control and influence would take them. And there might even be a future scenario where ICOs, they may not even exist as it currently is. It will be some sort of mutated version with the government in some level of control. So that is my concern. If an ICO is going to be setting up, I mean, the whole point, getting away from the traditional world with traditional funding, like venture capitalists with their methods and so on. This is something which I feel is going to be a bit of a conflict of interest. It depends who you speak to, but yeah, they came out with the strategic hub of innovation and financial technology. So literally the whole goal is to simplify the process of an ICO startup when going through the regulatory framework. So yeah, it's they're going to be speaking with developers and entrepreneurs across the financial industry, particular interest in the companies involved with the blockchain, and They'll focus on digital marketing, financing, and artificial intelligence, and also having automated investment advice as well. So yeah, it will act as a go-between, a middleman, a one-stop shop, I guess, and it will be a buffer between the new ICO startups and the SEC. So to clarify the regulations, and a collaborative body to work with them and guide them through the regulatory world. So yeah, it's literally just something where from an engagement point of view, I do see the benefits of that. The SEC are certainly open to learning more about the technology. They've engaged different stakeholders in that space for some time now to really understand how it works, and how, in essence, they want to know how they can regulate the space, but also see, to try and foresee where they can go, but try and foresee where it may go, so they can anticipate moves and have what they consider their own solutions or their own approaches at the ready, so to eventually take a proactive approach in this space, and not having to just react and shut things down or approve this, or come in with more control and power and influence in this space. So yeah, it will certainly provide clarification from entrepreneurs, developers, and it will be useful for them in the beginning. Anything that saves time and money, like if that's something that will help them give stability when you're starting a new company. You definitely need stability of some sort relate on the legal side. I can see how this could be a benefit. So yeah, what do you think, Aking? What are your thoughts?
Me, I'm actually getting ready to pull up some charts right now, because I know a lot of people are interested in looking at the market, see where we are, even though we haven't really done all that much. So I put up some charts for some players here with Manero, particularly. I'm looking at
Sounds
Manero, good. Bitcoin, of course, Ethereum. So I'll let you finish. Are you finished with the fundamental stuff? Because I can get into that, or I can let you finish. I can do it at the end.
I still have some more, but we'd like to see the charts first, and then I'll continue.
Go ahead, finish. So I'll let you get it all out, so then I can go ahead and tie it up there. So knock yourself out. Like, get it. The floor is yours. Do your thing.
Okay. Thank you. So today there was an online Swiss bank that has become, they've made a bit of history by becoming the world's the first bank worldwide to offer clients access to ICOs, and that is a big deal. First of all, they're an online bank; they don't have a traditional branch. And second, as you may have know, Switzerland is one of the jurisdictions that are crypto friendly. And they do have a Swiss city, I think it's called Zug, Canton of Zug, and it hosts all these crypto companies from across the world, and gives them a friendly environment to work, and actually has been helping instrumental in pouring investments. Encouraging investments from abroad to help them set up and establish a city there. A lot of the big clients, a lot of the big companies are there. Yeah, so to some people, it's no surprise that they may be one of the first to come up with the opportunity to do this. Now, it was only a matter of time. I mean, banks have been trying to figure out how they can, not just banks, by the way, financial services and venture capitalists as well, concerned and feeling threatened about this brave new world of ICOs. And if you can't beat them, join them. They've been coming up with their own version. They've been setting up funds, projects, and working to maximize and take advantage of the space and getting that first mover advantage. So So it's no surprise this has come from the Swiss. Obviously, it would have made a bit more impact if it was from a jurisdiction that didn't allow ICOs, or that it frowned upon them, or you know, that they have a 50-50 or let's wait and see approach. But yeah, so it's and here's the thing with this. As a investor, as a user, you don't even have to own a wallet. You don't even have to know about crypto or blockchain. Basically, is the lazy way of taking advantage of the crypto space and ICO. They will do all of the hard work for you. They'll give you the security. They'll take care of all that nuisance. You know, they really, and I knew something like this at some point was going to happen. They are going to have this narrative where we know better than you. Let us take care of your finance. Let's do, because you've certainly been doing well in the traditional space, but yeah, they were going to find a way to come into this space. They had to find a way to adapt. They had to find a way to take advantage. So yeah, so it's going to be a secure environment against fiat currency. You don't have to know about blockchain or even own a wallet, and they'll take care of all the orders for you. And more importantly, this is the part that gets me, is the custody of the tokens here. That is literally the key to the key, literally the key to everything. Custody of the tokens. I think that's it's crazy that there will be paying clients. There will be people that pay for a bank to take care of your cryptos. It was only a matter of time. And they will deal with everything that we usually do in terms of managing our crypto portfolios. They will do for their clients. Now, here's the thing though, they will also judge ICOs that they think will do well, that they will go into mature projects that are ready to be launched. And they're going to do all the fundamental analysis as well. They're going to check out the management, the team, what the business is about, whether they have real world use case, what the financial situation is, what the legal situation is. Pretty much check it top to bottom, left and right, assess it, grade it, and decide if this is something they want their clients to be exposed to. Bear in mind, it's not in the bank's interest to be investing in scams because they do have their reputation to look after. There is also, because it's not a regulated space yet, they do not want to be sued. They don't want to get into legal embroiled in legal issues or standoffs. So they did thoroughly check the situation through and through, and they decided there is a market, there's a demand for it, and that the benefits do outweigh the cost in this future. The potential in this space is mind-boggling. And with how ICOs have been performing overall since the boom last year up until now, even this year, there's been a lot more ICOs that launched than last year. So this is something where I do feel other banks, other financial institutions will follow on. There will be an impact with other competitors. They will assess it for themselves and see that if this is something they'd be exposing their customers to and taking advantage of that. But the fact that this has happened, it only goes to show, at some point they're working on these different approaches, and they do believe this is the way they can take advantage of the space. So in my opinion, do expect more of these banks to not just in Switzerland, but elsewhere as well. This is in my opinion, this is a test case because it is the first of its kind. But we shall see how different jurisdictions react, and also how different banks and financial industries they may have to adapt certain things. but they may have extra safeguards in place. They may have to enter more legal text or some sort of provisions to help protect the investors and or customers. So that's something which we're going to have to wait and see how it plays out. But I think it's sort of like it depends who you are if you're coming in and as an investor, and if you're coming in with the mindset of, okay, I do want to invest in ICOs, but I do not want the issues, the problems that had plagued especially with beginners who had absolutely no idea. Last year when we saw the boom, a vast majority of them came into the space completely uneducated, jumped on the bandwagon, saw what was happening to the market, especially with Bitcoin, and decided to jump in any ICO without this was, and also there was a report to back up that if you had taken an average of the gains of any ICOs you invested, you ended up making over, your returns were over 1,300% last year. So that was a crazy time before, and we know what happened after, right? So and with the first ICO, in this case, that they've decided to invest in is a company called Lake Diamond. They specialize in literally making lab-grown diamonds, ultra pure diamonds, which are normally used for jewelry and high-tech sectors. So this is something where we're going to see a lot more banks and financial services and companies do take advantage of people's almost people's naivety to some extent, and people's like some people will be gullible and take it, and they will find a way to take advantage of that. But for the true believers, for the people that do want to treat this as an alternative, as something to be like a hedge against the traditional space and the status quo, in my opinion, I'm not comfortable, and in fact, I don't believe having a bank or any financial institution taking custody of your tokens, of your cryptos at all. Even if they make things real easy, real convenient, your life is too busy to take care of everything and watching this and that, trying to monitor this, that, and having the back, it completely defeats the whole point of coming into this space. It's your responsibility to and your destiny, your financial destiny, for you to steer the ship and not the bank, and certainly not to keep it in in the bank's possession, where any number of things can happen. And if I don't know how many of you read the terms and conditions or contracts, but they can point out with a little hidden clause somewhere, perhaps they can then revoke your tokens. Then they could quote regarding security measures or money laundering or terrorism, or it could be anything. They could simply quote revoke it by invoking a particular clause, with hidden in legal jargon. So it's really important to do. Obviously, we always preach doing your due diligence, but I don't see how having banks would, it's allowing you to have financial control over your cryptos or any aspect of your financial affairs. You can still have their security and all the benefits that they bring in the traditional space, but inviting them in and having them control your cryptos as well, to me personally, it doesn't make sense to me. The whole point is to diversify and manage your risk. So if something goes wrong with the traditional space, there's a recession going on, or some other act of war, act of God, any number of things that can go wrong. We saw what happened in 2008, and a lot of people lost their jobs, their homes, and it took some time to recover from that. And so this is something to consider. So again, do your due diligence. If you are ever going to have banks or other financial institutions take care of your cryptos for you, then certainly do your due diligence and choose what is best for you. So yeah. And on another thing as well that reminded me is with there was another development which I thought was interesting as well. The London Gold Association, they're approving blockchain trackers. So they're using, this is quite important actually, because if you think of all the forgeries, all the counterfeits out there, whether it's metal, whether it's goods, other goods and commodities, this is really important because it does pertain to gold. And it basically tries to, from the global supply chain, it tries to exclude metal that has been illegally mined, traded, or used to finance conflict, terrorism, or any number of things. Now, you guys, I'm sure you have opinions on blood diamonds. I'm sure you have opinions on unethically sourced commodities, especially from Africa in particular, where we know, that's a whole nother topic. We don't need to get into it today, but we know the situation largely in regards to how the communities are exploited, like the share of the wealth is there's hardly any share. They're literally being drained. Africa has been drained historically and presently of its resources. So, and a lot of it has been it's illegally mined as well. Or in the case of blood diamonds, people had to die. Also in other industries as well, in Africa, they're affected by multinationals and other companies and very powerful individuals that control a vast percentage of their resources and natural wealth and natural riches. So the fact that they've created they've decided to track gold and put that on the blockchain, that's quite important. So because there was a situation in your country, in the States, there was a US refinery that accepted billions of dollars worth of gold smuggled from South America, for example. And so they have been discussing, they've been talking, how are we going to tackle this issue, because forgery and theft and unethical practices are really they're really trying to get get a grip of that, because it is costing them money, but it's also costing people's lives. They do suffer as well, so in the community. So yeah, so the particular group, there's about 144 members, and it does include some of the world's largest gold refiners, banks, and dealers. And you know, they've been working how to track gold and prevent forgery. So yeah, they'd be able to track that. And remember, this isn't the first time in regards to trading commodities and with the IBM and Maersk. They did create a global blockchain-based trading platform, so they can, it's specifically for the shipping industry, to improve efficiency. And with De Beers, now I personally don't like De Beers. It goes back to the colonial days. I'm not a fan of them whatsoever, and any company that have any colonial ties to Africa and have previously exploited the community there. Now, one thing I do with in regards to tracking diamonds on the blockchain, at least there will be certain level of accountability and transparency. So if this helps get rid of blood diamonds or any sort of abuse, maltreatment, exploitation, that is a good thing. But my personal opinion is that De Beers shouldn't even be controlling so much of those mines. I would prefer those mines to be back in control of the not government, of the people. Find a way to buy more share, have a buyout or something. But again, it's the majority, the Western world taking the resources of Africa, and then I feel they're not getting their fair share. If they're to do that, they're not getting, the communities not winning here. It's an unfair playing field. So you know, again, this is something which we're going to see with a lot of these companies in the with commodities in particular. Anything that can help provide transparency, efficiency, you can track them in real time. And some of them used to do it with pen and paper as well, which again, I do not understand, because it's a globalized world. And for that scale, that level, that massive scale, how can you be dealing with, you know, archaic methods? It's crazy to me. But I'm glad to see and hear that they are considering and using blockchain to be able to come into the 21st century. And take advantage of those benefits. So it's a win-win situation for all parties concerned. So yeah, that's also, it's not very important to note as well. They would select from a group of there's about 26, I think, including IBM, that they're considering helping to track gold and other commodities around the world. But it's not just tracking gold from mines, and it's also from banks, jewelry shops, you name it, wherever the gold goes from, literally mine, remember, for supply chain with food, from farm to your plate. In terms of commodities, it will be the same case as well, from mine to your gold jewelry, your ring, your necklace. So this will affect us all at some point, because if we can be assured that our gold, our diamonds came from places where there has been ethics applied, and it's not harming the environment or the local community, and there's a way to prove that via the blockchain, I think this is definitely going to help with us. Again, I would prefer the source of the wealth to go back into our community a lot more than it currently is, but that's something that we'll be working on. So right now, the metals are physically tagged before it could be traced, but they will add with this, with the advantage of blockchain, they will also add security features on them to help prevent forgery as well. So again, I think this is a good development in regards to commodities being applied. The tracking, monitoring, and prevention of illegal things, applying that via the protections via the blockchain. It's a good thing. And also, one more thing I wanted to mention before I pass you back to Aking is Ticketmaster. So I do wonder how many of you guys, I'm sure you've been to a concert at some stage, and not sure if you like to use Ticketmaster or StubHub. We have StubHub here, or any other ticketing solution or company. So Ticketmaster has decided to jump on board the blockchain bandwagon as well. So they decided to, instead of creating their own from scratch, they acquired a blockchain ticketing company called Upgraded. Now, it will allow Ticketmaster to provide literally blockchain powered ticketing. It will protect us from buying fraudulent tickets and being scammed. And basically, you have the traditional event tickets, normally PDF, you have to print them, or you can, have it on your phone to be scanned or something. So it will be digital smart tickets. And there will be more control and visibility over the ticket distribution as well. And buyers and sellers can now interact with complete trust, which is the whole point, transparency in this space, especially with concert tickets. Any type of event tickets is so, so important in order to prevent being ripped off. And definitely security and having frictionless mobile transfers is a game changer. So this will help in terms, like I said, preventing fraud with the paper that you normally get with the paper and PDF tickets. And the good news is that they don't even have to change the venues. They don't have to upgrade their existing hardware, which is good, saves them money. And also the layer of security that we'll have, the barcodes and QR codes won't be on the face. It will actually turn up. It won't be on the face of the smart ticket until the doors are actually opened and at the venue, and that you, the holder, are near the venue. So again, great news for us if we want to go cinema, buy any sort of concert tickets. Then yeah, this will definitely help us. So Yusuf, what do you think?
Oh, what were you asking me?
What do you think of having your concert tickets being verified by the blockchain if you use Ticketmaster?
I don't go to concerts. The last concert I went to was there's this group out of Atlanta called the Young Bloods. Do you remember that group?
The Young Bloods?
You don't remember them?
No.
Don't start no stuff, won't be no stuff. Don't start no stuff, won't be no stuff.
That rings a bell, but some names I don't remember. I probably heard of it though one time.
It was like, man, that was like a long time ago. It was like it was them and Little John. You don't remember them? It was like
I know Little John, and I know he built schools in Africa. I know To the Window, To the Wall, and other.
They had like one song. I forgot how the song went. How did it go? I got the hook. I can't think of the hook.
For some reason, that reminds me of Young Guns.
No, Young Guns. That was like the East Coast stuff. That was like Jay-Z and them.
Okay.
Well, actually, it was like Freeway and them. That was like a Philly movement. I think they're from the Philly.
Yeah, I remember Young Guns, but Young Gunners, no, I don't.
Yeah, but that was the last concert I've been to. Ever since then, I've been an old man. Like I just gone to like little stuff. I'm so boring, bro. Like, you understand? Like, I go, like little poetry. I try to stay out of everybody's way. I don't want to be no drama. I don't want to be the mix. I don't want anybody shooting and I gotta run out. I don't want to do none of that stuff. So, like, I want to hang out with like the 40 and 50 club. Like, where it's nice, it's safe. I don't have to worry about anything. So, I haven't been to a concert in a while. I'm trying to think. I think
it's been a while for me too. Like I think the last time I went was when Nas came over. I think that's the last time. I really you're talking.
Yeah, I've done like little stuff that was like free events at the park.
Nas.
Kids outside. Like I go to like 2 p.m. concerts, 3 p.m. concerts. That's what I do.
Oh yeah, this is coming from the guy that hasn't watched Black Panther, so I shouldn't be surprised, right?
Man, see, every time that's brought up, I get hit up so bad. People are like, you haven't Black Panther? I haven't gone to the movies in, man, when was the last time I've been to? I can't tell you the last time I've been to the cinemas. I mean, it's been a while since the last time I've been to the cinemas. Yeah, I get things on Netflix, Redbox. Yeah, I really do my best to stay out of everyone's way. I don't want no problems. Stay out of everyone's way. But I want to share a chart with Bitcoin, of course. Unfortunately, there's not a lot that's changed in Bitcoin, but I just want to touch on that.
Yeah.
On Manero, because I think the technicals on Monero is pretty cool. Well, they're pretty interesting. I haven't really seen. It's the way it's developing. I think is pretty interesting. And then if anybody has any coins in the section, just have them posted, and I'll take a look at that real quick too. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my chart.
Hashtag charts, 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 charts.
So this is Manero. All right, so this is Manero right here. So I still think that matter of fact, let me pull up Bitcoin real quick because I know everybody wants to see Bitcoin. So let me talk about Bitcoin first. So this is Bitcoin. Is that my computer or yours?
Is it sound?
Yeah, I hear something like rumbling in the background.
Maybe. Yeah, it's a plane or helicopter.
Oh, okay, got you. All right, so
I'll mute myself.
No problem. All right, so I still see Bitcoin in this descending triangle, guys. So I'm on the Bitfinex exchange, and I touched on this, I think, last week. So I spoke on this breakout on Bitfinex. And what I mentioned is that if we were to see a price action like this, at this time, when I first spoke about it, the bar close was a little bit higher. I think it was around $7,600 or $7,900. It was something like that. I think it was a little bit higher when I first spoke on it. And I mentioned that as long as we're outside of this falling, of this descending triangle, you have to respect the possibility of price coming back down, touching a base, and then working its way back up. However, I made it clear that my view was that it was a short squeeze, meaning we was going to shoot back up and then come back in. But in all fairness, when you see that these type of things happen, even though it primarily happened on Bitfinex, you still have to respect an alternative perspective. I think it's irresponsible not to. So although we respected this alternative perspective, the main idea remained the same, in which price will come back into this channel. Well, not channel, this falling triangle, this descending triangle. And that's exactly what price did. It came back into this descending triangle. So now we're expecting, some continuation price movement, something like this. For price to come back, touch these lows, when we retouch this downtrend line, this main downtrend line. But ultimately, because of the price pattern that we're in, and I spoke on this many times, ultimately, because of the price pattern that we're in, we're still anticipating with a 70 to 80% probability that we're going to come down to at least, the $4,000, $5,000 range, and maybe even the $3,000 range. And when I say maybe, the reason why we get to $3,000 because historically how these patterns play out is that the top of the opening of this pattern is what you're going to typically see on the bottom side of this move. So what that means is we take this price range right here, which is about 50%. You'll take that, you'll add it down here to the bottom of 6,000, and you'll get about $3,000. So that's how we get to $3,000. Does it have to go to $3,000? Absolutely not. So this is how it works. There's a 70 to 80% chance it's going to break the $6,000. However, that percentage decreases as it falls. So what does that mean? Meaning that once it breaks, it's 100% chance it's going to break because it just broke. I mean, it's a certainty. Until it breaks, you're looking at 70 to 80% chance it's going to break. After it breaks, it's 100% because it happened. It's a certainty. Now, as far as it hitting the target, you're going to look at anywhere from 60 to 70% chance is going to hit this target of $3,000. So even though this is a higher probability that it breaks, it doesn't have to come to $3,000, but the probability of it hitting $3,000 is still higher than it not. So nothing has really went on with Bitcoin for a while. I mean, if you really look at things, take this price and date range, for the last month, we really haven't gone anywhere. I mean, we're in a range, we pop down, pop back up, and we're right back in that same area. So we really haven't done anything. So nothing really is worth talking about until something really truly happens. And even though we look at probabilities of possibilities, I say this and I continue to say this. For me, Aking, Rizin, Yusuf, I'm not bullish on Bitcoin until we close above $7,500. So you say, well, it was $6,000. You could have bought at 6,000. You're absolutely right. Well, I could have bought at 5,800. You're absolutely right. So if we break bullish, there's a possibility you get it at a better price than I would, because I'm waiting for it to close above $7,500. It's very simple, and I'm okay with that. It's, to me, it's not a big deal. To others, it might be a very big deal, but for me, I need to see that we're actually going up in price and that the downtrend has ended versus just buying into a downtrend hoping the uptrend is going to start. So it's all about perspective and preference. If you know, you buy Bitcoin whenever because you love Bitcoin, do your thing. I'm just giving you my view, not financial advice, not from me, not from Asmeret. Do your own financial research, invest your own risk, don't invest at all, whatever, you know, floats your boat. That's just how I see it. And in my opinion, I think that if we were to break bullish, I don't think we'll just fly up to the moon. It's possible, but I think a more probable event would be for us to break bullish above $7,500, maybe get into this range right here, and then to come back like this. What am I doing? And then come back like this, retest this base around the $7,600 to $7,000 range, and then for us to continue up. So I shared this in a prior video. So in my view, what dollar cost averaging would mean to me is that I would wait for this breakout to occur. I'll miss out on all of this speculation price action. I just have a lot more to risk than to gain in this breakout, in my opinion. And I will start dollar cost averaging on this pullback. That's where I will start buying into Bitcoin, you know, however far back it pulls. And then in anticipation for it to go back up. Now, it could break out and then just go all the way down. That's a possibility, and I would lose money. But that would be my play. I would just let it break out, buy all the way down into the pullback, hope in anticipation, trusting that this breakout is an honest breakout, in anticipation that we're going to have follow through back to the upside. And then as soon as price cleared that high again, I'll buy again. So I'll buy here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then the price will go all the way back up. Then I'll buy it again at 7. That's how I would play it. I would buy it all the way down, and then I'll buy it again at the top in anticipation that it's going to continue up. That's how I see dollar cost averaging on a Bitcoin setup. But the probability is that none of this happens and that we continue down on our way to $3,000. That's the most likely event at this point. Next month, it could be different. But as of today, that's how I see the most likely event playing out. Now, I wanted to talk about Manero, because I just think Monero's cool, the way that it's forming in price. There's no particular reason. I just think it's cool. So with Manero, I seen a potential head and shoulders. So I thought maybe we could break down on Manero. You know, I seen this pump up here. We had a shoulder, a left shoulder was high. We made a higher high than this left shoulder. Then we made a lower shoulder, which is showing exhaustion in the market. So that's pretty good for, you know, a head and shoulder. And then we had some fib level confluence on the 0.382. So I thought it was pretty good for a head and shoulder. But instead of breaking down, we kind of popped back up again to form almost like a second shoulder, which was actually a little bit higher. So kind of invalidated this whole head and shoulder pattern. But then we went into another descending wedge. And you can kind of see, like Bitcoin, does the same thing. We have lower high here. Let me see if I can mark this for you. So we have a lower high here, a lower high here, lower high here, lower high here. So that's the same thing with Bitcoin. Same level bottoms, relatively. Lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, and then we broke down. And you can see the breakdown is pretty violent. The breakdowns are typically pretty violent in the descending triangles. So that's exactly what I'm expecting Bitcoin to do. Is this exact thing what Manero is showing us? The breakdown, but instead of continuing to break down, we spiked back up, and that was due, in my view, to a Bitfinex price manipulation. And I just think it's price manipulation, guys. I don't think those, no mystery, no riddles. I just think it's, you know, good old-fashioned price manipulation. Broke down, spiked back up, and now we're back in another pattern. And I see this pattern as another potential descending triangle where we have, you know, this high, where we're still making lower highs starting from this pivot right here, and relatively the same level lows. We have a touch right here, a touch right here. We kind of floated a little bit, a touch right here. You can call this another touch. And I think we may get one or two more touches in this area. And then I think another breakdown is imminent. So, and I think that breakdown is going to be to the tune of about 50% on Manero. So I'm still very, very bearish on the market in entirety. So we take here to here, about 40% on Manero. So wherever Manero breaks down from, let's say we break down over here, let's say 40%, that's 24. 40 is around 60 bucks. Yes, I still see Manero going to 60. So as of right now, I think there is a 70 to 80% chance that we are going to break down. And then from that breakdown, I think there's a 60 to 70% chance we see 60 bucks on Manero. Now, is it possible that Manero to come down and fly all the way back up? Absolutely, 100% positively. I just think that the odds and probabilities would indicate that it's more likely for us to come down than to go up. So, and we're just looking at pure price action, guys. We're not looking price action, price patterns. That's it. That's all I showed you guys. I'm not, and Fibonacci's, a few, I guess you could say trend lines, but that's part of the price action, price patterns. So we're not doing anything crazy. I'm not looking at no oscillators, indicators. I'm not looking at any of that stuff. We're just taking a look at price and just trying to figure out what price is telling us. And in my opinion, I think price is telling us a lower price to the tune of 60 bucks. So that might come in a month, that might come in 2 months, that might come next year. Who knows? But as of right now, we don't have a technical reason to be bullish on Manero, in my view. And I know a lot of people are into Ripple because Ripple did its thing as far as pumping and stuff. So I want to take a look at Ripple real quick. And I've been calling 13 cents on Ripple for a while. And after that pump, I was pretty much disregarded for that 13 cents. And that's fine. But I still think we're going to 13 cents. I think there's no way Ripple escapes 13 cents. I think 13 cents is Ripple's destiny. I think Ripple owes 13 cents a visit. I think there's no way Ripple avoids it. I've never liked Ripple, but this is, so, you know, take a little bit of a personal vendetta with me and Ripple because I just don't like Ripple. Don't like it. You know, I don't like when the banks get involved in crypto. I know you spoke about that bank in Switzerland, Asmeret. You know, just stay out of crypto, bro. You know, continue like paying like 1% a year on saved accounts, you know, while y'all make your billions or something. But, you know, so I don't know. I just don't have a big, you know, preference for Ripple. But it's a cool price pattern. I've showed this price action before where I see it like this, where I see that a channel on Ripple like this. Like we have that channel right here, this up channel. And then price was in that channel, ruptured out, bounced on top of that channel, went straight through it, bounced back up, touched the top of that channel. Now we're back down. So we had this strong downtrend on Ripple right here. That was broken, that strong downtrend. And we have this strong support line right here on Ripple. So I'm just plotting this, guys, for you live. Like I didn't have Ripple plotted. So we had this strong support on Ripple that broke up. And now on Ripple, we have this right here. I'm doing this live for you guys. So because I really don't trade Ripple nearly as much. Let me see. I like this right here. We had this right here was really good resistance on Ripple, right in this area. Boom. So we tested that area again. We rejected from that area. And then we had a minor downtrend right here, which has started, I mean, you have this spike right here, which is kind of ugly, but I see a downtrend almost like this on Ripple, you know, which is extremely subjective. Yeah, use a little imagination to see that as a downtrend. But I still see us within that downtrend, meaning that downtrend hasn't been broken. And we're bouncing right here on this 0.10 fib level. So with that being said, where we bounce, we found some support on Ripple. I don't really think there was support there. The only reason why we bounced there is because everything else was bouncing. So Ripple bounced right here, and there's really nothing there for Ripple to bounce on. Maybe we stretch this thing back. Yeah, you could do that. You had a little support back here. So that's a stretch on Bitfinex. So we had a little bit of support right here. So we're kind of bouncing between these zones. We have the 0.786 fib level. We have very, in my view, weak support. And then we have the 0.10 fib level. What the Fibonacci teaches us is that the 0.786 is a bearish fib level. So if we're coming from the bottom to the bottom, we're coming from a lower price to the bottom of the 0.786 and we reject, that's typically a bearish indication. So we did have a double top right here on Ripple. Let me illustrate that. An M top right here. This forms an M. So that is a sign that, bulls are really strong. They came back for more strength. The second time up, they got weaker. Then they had to sell off. And now we're also right under another level of resistance right here. So we're getting weaker. We went to the top of this channel, got weaker, got to resistance again. We bounced a little bit, touched resistance, got weaker, broke all the way down. We're testing resistance again. So I think a revisit of the 38-cent range is healthy. And I think that once you start trading below this point, start trading below 45 cents again, it clears the path to again touch the lows. First stop at 38-cent range, and then another stop down to the 26-cent range. And if we break below that, then that clears the path for 13 cents. So that's really the play for Ripple, in my view. Let me illustrate this. So I think we're doing something like this. Then we get a bounce here, and then we'll do something like this. We get a bounce here. And 26 cents is really the last call for alcohol. If Ripple breaks 26 cents, Ripple can do anything but break 26 cents. That's it. Ripple wants to go down to 38 cents and bounce up, fantastic. If Ripple wants to go to 26 cents and bounce up, fantastic. It can do anything it wants but break 26, 25 cents. The moment it does that, in my view, we're going straight to 13 cents, full speed ahead, no brakes, engine burning. There's really nothing, and I think that's going to stop it from going 13 cents. So those are levels I would just watch and pay attention to. Are we going to bounce from 45? I don't think so. I don't think 45 is going to hold. It could. There is some support here. It could absolutely hold, but I doubt it. I doubt it's going to hold. So I'll be more optimistic for the 38, 39 cent range for a retest there. I think, even though it's not very strong support level, if there is going to be support, I'll be more optimistic there than it's 45 cents. And if that doesn't hold, then I think 26 cents is your best bet. There's a lot of support down there. So anything is pretty much free game. If you're a bull on Ripple, you don't want to see Ripple below 25 cents. That's how I see it. That's like the last line of defense. You really don't want to see it below 38. I'm sure you want it to go up right now, but I think everything's in favor for a bearish market to continue. The more I look at it, I just think everything's in favor for the bearish market to continue. And the alts are going to, definitely be impacted. So, but there's a light at the end of the tunnel. We have seen coins get listed and other coins do really, really well. Like we talked about this coin right here, BAT. And BAT did even better. Like I think when we spoke about BAT, it was at 4,000 Satoshis, I think. And I think, was it BAT or was it a different coin? I forgot what coin it was. But I remember speaking about BAT, and it was breaking out. And I mentioned, where was it? Was it at 4,000 Satoshis? It was somewhere bullish in this area. I don't remember where. But it did really well. It must have came under some news, maybe speculation of it getting listed on Coinbase or whatever it was. And I mentioned BAT being bullish. So here we are. This is an example where If you was privy to that information, you was watching that, it's a potential where you could have made, 60%. Now, granted, you're making 60% more Bitcoin, but Bitcoin isn't falling as fast as BAT is increasing. In fact, Bitcoin is pretty much at the same price. So, but let's just say worst case scenario, if BAT in the Bitcoin market went up 60%, right? Let's just say where it's at right now, 40%. Let's say 40%. So BAT goes up 40% and Bitcoin drops 2%. Okay, your Bitcoin is worth 2% less, but you also have 40% more Bitcoin. So you're in a net value situation, a net positive situation. So these altcoins in the BTC market that are coming under different rumors, buy the rumors, sell the news. These coins that are coming under these different rumors, there may be some real opportunity. So some of you guys may have BAT, and y'all might see a significant gain for that. So congratulations, that's pretty awesome. Let me see, what's BAT on the USD market? I'm pretty sure it did the same thing, but I just want to see that for myself. Yes, so it did pretty good in the USD market too. And let me see, the breakout in the USD was really right around here, to be honest though. That's the true breakout. So it did better on the BTC market unless you got in early down here. Yeah, so all in all, I think it did better in the BTC market. At least it's like cleaner to identify that breakout. Because see, on the USD market, you would have had something like this. Then you would have had something like, you could have had your channel like this. And then you could have plotted it right here for a breakout zone right there. So most people, I would imagine, would have had a breakout in this area right here, a true breakout in this area. So once it broke out, retested, if you was trading the breakout, you probably only would have caught about 20%, which is good, and that's USD, which is really good, unless you would have gotten over here and then like on this right here, which was a little bit of a difficult trade to take because it broke down, then it popped back up. So yeah, it was a much cleaner trade, I think, in the BTC market. A much cleaner trade. That's how that would have been. So in the BTC market, I think it did really well on that. Let me see. Yeah, that was a much cleaner trade on that. So yeah, there's still plenty of opportunities. So don't be. I know for a lot of people that's invested in the major coins, it might be maybe not depressing, maybe just a little stale at the. I guess that's a polite way to put it. Nothing's really happening, and the little that is happening is not really positive price action on the major ones. But there's still coins that's doing numbers. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't, right? So there's still coins doing numbers. This is a 50% move, depending where you get in. That's pretty significant. And BTC didn't drop 50% in the last couple of days, so there's definitely money to be made. But yeah, I just wanted to use that as an example. Anyone got a question or a coin they want to look at? I know we're over time, but I'll take a look at a coin real quick. You're on mute, by the way.
Yep, I'm just checking now.
Got a question or a coin they want to look
at? OMG and 0x.
Man, I haven't looked at OMG in a long time.
And Ethereum says Grant Johnson. Kevin Jarvis was the one that said OMG and 0x. ZRX is the.
I wonder why OMG is not really sucking so bad. I remember them saying OMG would never go into $9. I remember that day. Wow. Yeah, OMG's having a hard time. So like just looking at OMG, like you see this downtrend right here. Looks like maybe might have. So when I look at downtrends, I see trend lines not as a line, but just more of a zone. So I see it something like this. Oh, I grabbed the wrong thing. No, I didn't. So I see something like this. I don't really see it as like a single line. I see it more of a zone. So for me, OMG it's still in that, it's still like neutral bearish. It looks like it could make a pop up. But when you look at the actual range for support, I mean, it's really hard to make an argument for support. Like, where's my support at? You know, we had a touch back here. So maybe I could do that just because we touched back here and we had this breakout over here. Let me look on the daily time frame, but it just doesn't look like we had any support that I could sink my teeth into. You know, like, where am I supposed to put my support here? You know, if that's the case, I'm definitely under support. So it's just like, where is support for this thing? I mean, maybe I could put it here. That's where the wick shot down to. Yes, I could do that. Tested and broke up. So yeah, I could put my support there. And if that's the case, we're in that zone. So with OMG, honestly, let me take a look at RSI. That's what RSI is saying with OMG. So with RSI, we're going up a little bit. We're starting to round off at the bottom. Let's see. Maybe I'm spotting a little bit of bearish divergence, bullish divergence. No, not really. You know, like, I would need a reason to really get an OMG, and OMG's not really giving me that much of a reason to go bullish on it. I mean, outside the fact that, you know, price is a lot lower than, you know, what most people got in. I mean, we're looking at a coin that at one time was what, 26, 27 bucks. It's $3 now. But I'm just looking at it. It feels like my support. When I say feel, I'm looking for a price has formed some type of significant developments. And the problem with OMG, we just flew up from nowhere. So like we never really retested areas. So like even these areas are really not that strong support. You know, when you touch down here, like these areas are so fresh. It's not really strong support. So OMG is you know, I can come up with something if I really try to break this thing down and take a good guess at it. But just looking at it right now, it just feels like the same way this thing flew up, it needs to fly down. This is what I'm kind of seeing, just, you know, from the naked view. This is what I'm seeing right here. This structure, which to me looks like a big head and shoulder. You have your first shoulder here, your head, and then we got weaker shoulder, then a weaker shoulder, then we start to sell off. So just on that premise alone, let's see, price range. Just on that premise alone, what's that? That's like 340%. Like, how do I even calculate that? So I mean, that's crazy. I mean, because from the top of the top of the head to the baseline is giving me 340. I would have to reverse engineer this a little bit to discount for the descending price, because you can't do 340% discount. So just on this premise alone, like, I can make an argument easily for $1 or 70 cents on OMG. So for me, I would really have to look at this and really calculate what the percentage move would be, because this percentage discount is actually off the charts if I accept that pattern. And then we're looking at a lot of different things for the market makers as well. That's identifying they want to go lower in price. They tested these highs 3 times to let you know they want to go lower. They faked you out right here. They gave you a double bottom. They give you a fake breakout towards the top to let you know they want to go lower. So they're really having a good time with OMG, with giving you false signals and false impressions that they want to go higher when they want to go lower. So that could very well continue. Where we are right now, this is what I see on OMG, something like this, with this breakdown. So we can see a retest and then a continue to sell off. So if the rest of the top alts go, I'm sure OMG will go with them. What else? What you got?
Elastos, ELA.
No, that's Ethereum, right?
Yeah, Ethereum.
Okay, Ethereum. So let's take a look at Ethereum on the weekly. I remember a long time ago calling out Ethereum, saying how it was about to implode. Nobody kind of wanted to believe it, but it's all to the good now. But Ethereum again, like a lot of times in crypto, these patterns repeat. So I saw Ethereum in this head and shoulder, and we just started our way down on Ethereum, like just started our way down Ethereum. But the thing with Ethereum is that the thing that I'm concerned about with Ethereum is that I see us potentially forming a double bottom here. And Ethereum, when Ethereum fell down from this 400 or 450 range, I don't feel like we ever properly retested that area before we took this massive drop. So I think Ethereum may be in for a short squeeze. So don't be surprised if we see a short squeeze on Ethereum for 100, 150 bucks. But ultimately, I think Ethereum is going to go the way with everyone else. If indeed Bitcoin takes that plunge, I'm taking Ethereum down to $60 for sure, 100%. That's where I'm going with it. So a lot of this stuff is waiting on Bitcoin to make its move, but I still think Ethereum is, just as bearish as it was when we first started talking about it. But we have to respect this perspective, where we have this lower bottom right here, and it looks like we're forming another lower bottom right. So if this week closes bullish, which is possible, where this candlestick is telling you we went bullish all the way here, the bears push you all the way back down, but you still close bullish. Now the bears has won most of this move, but it doesn't mean this bullish move is over. This next candle could definitely close bullish and even go as high as 270 within the following weeks. Or this wick could act as an anchor, and every week after that will close within the 240 price range. So we'll find that out really, really soon. But I think Ethereum could be on the schedule for a short squeeze where it shoots up, something like how Ripple did. Everyone goes crazy. Everyone thinks Ripple is back. I mean, Ethereum is back, and then it sell back down. So I'm bearish on Ripple. The only asterisk is there may be a short. I think a short squeeze is almost predictable, that there is a high probability we'll see a short squeeze, but I don't think that's going to change anything. And what did you say, Elastos?
Yes, ELA. ELA.
Do I have that?
Elastos.
Oh, here it is. I have Elastic. Is that the same? That's not the
No,
same.
that's not. It's ELA.
Yeah, I put in ELA. I don't think I have it on trading.
Okay.
What else? Anything else?
That's it for now from what I can see. I might need to update it. Yeah, that's it. I think I've already mentioned OMG, 0x, Ethereum, and ELA. So yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for watching.
What I was going to ask you though is, do you remember some point in September? Do you follow Houston Rockets? I mean, it's your hometown, but do you follow it?
Not as much. I know we got in a fight with the Lakers the other day, but you know what's Rajon Rondo is actually like a friend of like some of my people back in Kentucky. So like I don't know him, but like some of my homeboys, like they kick it with him. So I'm a big fan of his just through his, obviously he's a great basketball player, but also I kind of have some people that that's really cool with him. So even though he punched us in the face,
Ingram and Paul, man,
I don't mind that so much because Rondo's the homie, not my homie, but he's the homie of the homie. So like I don't mind that. Like I get it, I understand. So I'll never have an issue with Rondo, but yeah, what was your point though? What was you gonna bring up?
Yeah, I saw that. Me and one of my best friends were talking about that. She's a major basketball head, super fan of NBA. So we were just talking about it before, and it was just crazy how Ingram had run in and just thought, let me take a shot, because I understand with Paul, anyone can have disagreements. You know, apparently Rondo started it, and Paul, you know, they're going back and forth. But then Ingram, didn't he push Harden, and then somehow it was all a big mess. But anyway, the point I was going to make is, did you know that Bitmain, which are Antpool, I should say, Bitcoin mining company owned by Bitmain, they had pledged to invest something like $500 million in the Texas economy over the next 7 years. But Bitmain sponsorship of the Houston Rockets. Do you know, I didn't know this, I only found this out because this was back in September 24th, but I didn't know the reason why they decided, Antpool decided to get involved, as well as obviously trying to push further adoption of cryptos. They said they wanted to engage people, lead the conversation, and get it out in this space, and people to become more familiar. But they said it's because they decided to sponsor the Rockets because Houston Rockets are #1 team in China. And I didn't know that. And the reason why is Yao Ming, who was the first overall pick back in 2000 in the 2002 NBA draft. He had played in the Rockets until during the 2010 and 11 the season. And then he obviously left in 2011. But that's the reason why the Chinese love the Rockets. So I just the part where Bitmain had sponsored the Houston Rockets, I thought you may have heard about it, know about it. So wanted to mention that since people were talking about the Rockets the other day. Did you know that?
Well, I went to a Rocket. Now, that's one thing I did do. I went to a Rockets game. Before it was like on Kobe's last run. I'm really a Kobe Bryant fan, so it's pitiful. It's really pitiful. Like I really don't do anything. That's sad. That's crazy. But like yeah, you know, I'll do certain little things like that. That's really really important. Like I went to see Kobe before he went out again. So I went to a Rockets game not too long ago. I mean, when Kobe was still playing. But yeah, that's crazy.
You know what I was thinking is it's never too late. I know people say, oh, we're not going to see Michael Jordan or Scott Pippen or even Magic play again. And I know they had All-Star. That you guys have All Stars, which we also follow here. By the way, we have ESPN. But I believe at some point, I mean, it's one of our biggest dreams here as well to have all the living, you know, the best of the best, get and do a charity game for you know, our community in the, you know, for Africa and the diaspora. That'd be like one of our ultimate dreams. That'd be so cool. Like have the arena, they could perhaps do like a tour and have the arena sold out, just like one epic game. And I know it will be unfair because they don't have the same physical strength and stuff, but the whole point is to see that community, you know, leaders coming together, major people that have quite a lot of influence in our community to come together and do it for a good cause. That'd be really cool. So yeah, I think that you may have a chance. You may have a chance of, you know, Kobe Bryant, if asked nicely, may do something where you'll be able to watch him play again. You never know.
Yeah, I'm a big Kobe fan. I'm a Kobe fan. I'm a Kanye West fan.
Are you saying you're you're a fan of Ye because of the recent controversy or since day one?
Yeah, I've always been a fan of Ye. I mean, and then on top of that, it's like you know, I think Black people, we have this mob mentality. When one person strays away from the mob, we, you know, go witch hunting for them and stuff. So it's like I don't like that type of stuff. And then I mean, I don't agree with all of his and maybe even most of his political positions, but he did point out a lot of great things about, you know, jobs for Black community, about mental health. Those are things that are serious in our community. He spoke about freeing Larry Hoover, which is an iconic figure for a lot of Black people, young and old, for a lot of different reasons beyond what the media may portray him as. So, I mean, he's spoken a lot of important issues that I think is relevant to us. And so we gotta have to be able to decipher. I understand the theatrics, I understand the imagery, and I think sometimes we get lost in theatrics and imagery, and then we don't even find what the message is. So it's hard to make a argument or to have any type of intellectual discourse if we don't even identify what the message is. So there's good things to be taken. I know a lot of people are very emotional when it comes to Trump, and he pushes a lot of buttons for a lot of people and some are good reasons and some maybe not so much. And for a lot of reasons, if you're a woman, you probably may have some reservations with Trump. If you're a Hispanic, you might have reservations with Trump. If you're just a human being, you may have reservations with Trump. But Trump is the president. So you have to be able to decide like how or if we're going to engage under what circumstances and conditions, or are we just going to exclude ourselves from the entire circus altogether? And I don't think one way or the other is the answer. I think there's people that do really well in pushing forward our initiatives and our interests, absolved from politics. And I think there's people that are in politics that are trying as well. I think both ends deserve support. So I'm not going to villainize the person that just wants to build within our community. I'm not going to villainize the person that wants to, push for our agendas with people that don't like us or don't care about us. So I think it's all good. We don't all have to have the answer. Just as long as we're all pushing towards a similar agenda, I think it's good. So that's my position. I just don't want us villainizing each other so much and hating each other so much for doing things that, like, if you campaigned for Obama, right? Right? That was your thing. Yeah, I don't rock with Obama. I know I tease you, we joke about it, but like, I'm not mad at you for that. Like, your heart was in the right place, your intentions in the right place, and you meant to do good and to be good for other people. So although I would not have campaigned for Obama, like, it's okay. It's okay because we're all pushing and we can all learn from each other. We can make adjustments where need be. But at the end of the day, we have to work together. We can't villainize each other for, for these type of things, I think. I mean, so that's just my opinion. Maybe it's a little bit too much of a kumbaya perspective, but I just kind of see it like that.
You have to remember as well that it was a different world pre-Obama. So, that was our minds and how the conversation was at the time was so different to what transpired 4 years and 8 years later. And as they say, hindsight is 2020. But I certainly have no regrets in my involvement because it was a great opportunity to engage with the African American community and be on, go to all of these different major cities, and it definitely was one of the turning points. Quite inspirational in my life meeting. That's why I have so much love for our community in the States, but also worldwide. I don't know if that's I think it's one of my alerts, but what I was going to say is just to reply quickly to Kevin Jarvis's face. Yeah, I remember Carmelo mentioning that was unacceptable. So yeah, I do remember that part, by the way. So just referring to Kevin's comment there. But anyway, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Aking, as usual. That is pretty much it. Any final words?
Peace, love. Hope everyone enjoys their week, safe, happy, spends time with the people they care about the most, and just be productive. Spread love, everybody. Just spread love. You see a fellow Black person in a grocery store, speak to them. And I know I've had my fair share of rants and passionate moments. But if anyone listens to this, just when you see another Black person today, just say good morning, good evening, how are you doing? That's fantastic. Speak to each other. That's all I have to say. Peace.
Likewise. Thank you guys for joining us. Peace out. Thank you. Have a great week.